soon there's going to be a chip shortage discount, like at your local Chevy dealer. Like, we're having a chip shortage special. All these cars are missing blah, 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 but we're going to chop the price down for you. Save $500 a month when you come in and you buy this Chevy Traverse with no parking sensors or heated seats.
Yeah.
Get it retrofitted sometime in 2026 after your lease is up.
Getting into the fall spirit.
Fall's coming around the corner. I thought a candle would be nice. Doesn't that smell good too?
Yeah. I was like, why does it?
Why does it smell like woman in here?
Huh?
I said, why does it smell like woman in here?
Yeah, no, not even that. You misogynist. I was just gonna say it smells like fall.
Fall, yes. Gotta go pick up pumpkin spice lattes in our Volvo V60. After this.
Starbucks sounds good. I'm about to go there. It's my parents' 30th anniversary today.
No shit. Congratulations. Yeah, clapping.
Yeah.
What are their names again?
My parents? Mike and Lisa.
Mike and Lisa.
Congratulations on 30 years.
30 years. Wow. What are you guys doing for the 30 years?
They are going out to dinner.
They're not bringing you.
They're going to the Boro.
Ooh.
You know the Boro.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I got to take a listen there sometime. That's a good anniversary place.
It is indeed. Yeah, Emily and I have gone a couple of times for brunch. We've never gone for dinner. I've heard that dinner is a whole other level.
I bet, yeah.
Yeah, I've only been for brunch a few times.
Well, shout out to the Boro in Dixboro, Michigan.
Yeah.
Sponsors of the Daily Motor Podcast.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yes. All brands out this week and replacing with Kroger. But so anyways, where I was going with that is I have to find my own dinner tonight. So I'm going to go get a Starbucks also.
For dinner?
Drink. Well,
or just
no, but I'm going to an iced.
Well, they have food there too.
I'm smelling this now, and I want a iced chai with oat milk and brown sugar syrup.
Maybe I'll go with you. I'll get something for Alyssa.
Yeah, we'll take the
I gotta take the Volvo. That's the Volvo.
That's like I know. We'll take the Volvo.
Yeah, perfect Starbucks car. I mean, not as good as the Bronco Raptor, but close.
I'm so disappointed that I didn't have a chance to do the Starbucks test in the Bronco Raptor.
I'm disappointed
because I could have just drove over the curbs on purpose.
Directly. Welcome to episode 39 of the Daily Motor Podcast.
We're almost in our 40s.
Yeah. Yeah, we've got 9 more episodes than your parents have years married. So catch up, Lisa.
Time needs to move more quickly.
Yeah. What a good week we've had.
We've had a good week.
We
had a great week, and with the mystery vehicle that was dropped off this morning that you already heard. You know what brand it is, but we didn't know what it was until this morning. And boy, are we excited for this week as well.
We had a mystery vehicle last week because we didn't know,
which was also a great vehicle.
Yeah, that we were getting graced with the 2022 Mazda CX-5 Signature. And boy, did we drive the wheels off that one.
Yeah, we drove it a lot. Mm-hmm. We did.
Drove it over to visit Joe Biden.
We did. I drove that car to Detroit 4 times.
Oh, are you counting DTW?
Auto show.
Mm-hmm.
My buddy's concert,
mm-hmm.
and to pick up Matthew from the airport last night.
Sure. I mean, I can't think of too many cars on the new car market right now that would soften the blow of having to drive to Detroit multiple times better than the CX-5.
I just love the CX-5.
Yeah. Rather than doing an actual review, since we did get the car late,
yes.
Chris and I shot a Money Where Your Mouth Is type video where we went through and we talked about all of the CX-5's competitors and why we would choose the CX-5 over them. Because we recommend the CX-5 to many, many people, and to you, William. So we want to...
William's a big Mazda guy.
Yeah, well, he's got a 3. Fun fact, that was Alyssa's ex-boyfriend's first name.
William?
Long.
Oh, hey?
Yeah.
Oh, he was Vietnamese.
Correct.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. Good memory.
Sorry, it took me a second. I always think of that because I remember one day, I don't know what we were driving, but we were in the same place at the same time. I was getting sushi, and you guys were what? I'm hoping this story doesn't disparage me, but continue. I was getting sushi, and you guys got banh mi.
Yeah.
And you had to bring
the other Daily Motor sponsor.
Aki.
No, the Vietnamese place.
Oh, I forgot what it's called. I forget every time what it's called.
rough. I'll look it up. You continue your
But
story.
anyways, no. Well, there's not really any story. That's just how I remember that Alyssa had a Vietnamese ex because I was like, I'm getting sushi, and you guys were like, we're getting Vietnamese, and Alyssa was like, yeah, I know what Vietnamese is good. Food is good because I've experienced a lot of it.
Mm-hmm.
That's all it was.
I do want to shout them out though because they are
Nothing.
K&D.
K&D Bistro.
K&D Bistro in Ypsilanti. Shout out to the it's not liquid gluten, it's just liquid air. Limoncello.
It is air, sure. Air. Limoncello air.
Not lemon, like a plum.
Limoncello.
I think I need to move the camera. It's like there's too much.
It looks wrong.
Too much dead space over there.
It does look wrong today.
I think I backed it up a little bit.
No, but it looks wrong, but it actually looks okay. I think I like where it is.
Okay. I think I'll just crop it. Everything's off center because center of the screen is like
the Auburn
there.
is off center.
Well, it shouldn't be the center.
Well, I'm trying to make it not block the TV.
Okay. That's fine. I'll just crop it in post. Fix everything in post.
We have a lot of props at this point.
Yeah, we're also sponsored by Dodge.
Yeah, we were on our way to an auto show party, and Charlie surprised me with this as my business professional outfit. And
well, Chris was complaining about his hat. Let's see what it looks like on you. Yeah. Darren Jacobs, maybe he'll be happy. It actually looks better than I expected it to look on you.
I can't see myself, obviously.
Yeah, I think your hair looks a little weird in it because it's tight on you. But I think if you loosened the cap a little bit.
Oh yeah, it is a little tight.
Yeah, I expected you to look douchier, but actually you pull it off.
Does this mean I should buy a Hellcat?
I think that means you gotta buy a Hellcat. Which would you buy? A Challenger, Charger, or Durango? I feel like Durango's the least douchey.
Durango Hellcat,
and probably the most valuable in the long term.
I would love to have a Durango Hellcat. I liked that car a lot. Yeah, probably. So probably a Durango Hellcat. Yeah. Practicalness.
Mm-hmm. Supreme and
I'm literally gonna wear this for the rest.
All right.
You guys can look at my Woodward Dream Cruise hat, which is already like super dingy
and off center.
And it's off centered. Yeah, it's a shame.
Yeah, well, there you go. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, speaking of Dodge, I emailed Dodge PR last week to see if we could get a Charger or a Challenger, and he's quote unquote working on it.
Very good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so stay tuned, everyone.
Yeah, I'm excited for that. I like genuinely, all jokes aside, I've never really spent time in a Charger or a Challenger.
Yeah.
So I would like to just to see what
what
all the hype's about.
I haven't spent extended time in the Charger, and I from what I can remember, I don't like it quite as much. The Challenger feels pretty cool.
I've driven the Charger Hellcat Red Eye at Mama, and it was one of the scariest experiences of my life because it was spinning its wheels in fifth gear
all the time
with traction control on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, traction control is just a light in that car.
I was gonna say it doesn't do anything. It's hilarious. Yeah, I was clenched after that. After it was spinning its wheels in fifth, I like went back into normal mode and I just cruised back to the parking lot.
Yep, just vibed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, CX-5. It's been refreshed a little bit. So there's actually I think a 2022 and then a 2022.5. So I think they're a refresh in the model year, but it's got the updated screen. It's got slightly different looks. It has, I don't know if any of the features it might have gotten the 360 camera in that update.
Yeah, it has it.
Yeah. But I'm saying like I don't know if it had it beforehand or not.
I see.
But the sound system's still excellent. A-tier Bose system.
Yeah, the Bose in that's awesome. That's probably the best. I mean, Mazda has like the best Bose systems.
Mazda has, really, really good ones. What else about that? Yeah, it just, I mean, if
it
there are any
colored cladding.
Yes. Yeah, the cladding is now white or body. I assume it's body color, whatever color you get. Is that only in the signatures or is it
I would assume they don't give it to you on a base model. Maybe they do, but
let's see
maybe that was part of the 0.5, but I want to say it's only on the Signature.
Oh, nothing's typing now.
Oh, good.
Google figured it out. Google is a gangster when it comes to diagnosing people's stupidity. All right. With standard all-wheel drive. Honestly, dude, for a car that technically it starts at like 28 after destination, but with all-wheel drive, that's a really good deal because a lot of times cars in this class start at whatever, but that's front-wheel drive only. Okay, so I see plastic cladding on the Select.
I love the way that Mazda is like channeling Porsche with like all 16 different trim levels.
Oh my gosh, I know. So it looks like, at least from this, only the Turbo Signature is getting the body color cladding, which I kind of like because
see what it looks like in all red.
Look at that, man. That looks really.
That does look really good.
That looks really, really good. I would also be tempted into deep crystal blue mica. What a great configurator too.
Yeah, it's very Porsche.
Yeah.
Very similar to the.
I mean, Mazda is essentially the common person's Porsche. Rhodium white metallic is what we had.
Yeah, what's the blue? Like the bright blue.
Eternal blue, Micah?
Oh, you were just on that, weren't you?
No, I was on the darker one. Okay. Polymetal gray metallic. Yeah, I'm only getting the carbon edition, which the CX-9 we're getting next week is the carbon edition. So
what does that mean?
I don't know.
Okay, I guess we'll find out.
Yep. Black also looks really good on the CX-5, especially with the black body color cladding.
Yeah, I don't love black cars.
You like that black Volvo that's outside?
I do. There are certain cars that look good in black. Like S-classes look good in black.
Well, this is kind of neat because if you ever see a CX-5 with body-colored cladding, you'll know immediately that it's the top trim.
It's a turbo signature. It's a big flex if your cladding is body-colored on your CX-5.
Yeah, because look how much more pleb this looks.
Yeah, but it still looks great.
It still does look good.
I was following a CX-5 on my way home just about an hour ago, and he put his left turn signal on and then turned right into a parking lot.
Come on, CX-5 driver, you can do better. Let me read to you a quick note on when they came out with Soul Red Crystal Metallic for the CX-5. How do you enhance the already bold, distinctive lines of the all-new Mazda CX-5? By crafting Soul Red Crystal Metallic, a new signature paint that achieves an even higher level of energy and vividness. With one glance, Joshua had just one word to describe it all. Why do we create such alluring details? Because driving matters.
Who's Joshua?
Some man, presumably, out of Hurst, Texas, who described the car as exquisite.
Well, Joshua, you are correct.
Yeah. Now, the CX-5 is a good car. We enjoyed having it. Thank you, Mazda, and thank you, Joe, for bringing it out to us. And, yeah, I would still happily own one. Although I'd get the non-turbo. Turbo's great, don't get me wrong. Yeah. I'm just not a big fan of getting 24 miles per gallon.
And having to fill up once every 3 days.
Yeah. Yep. The other car, a little good fidgeter. Yeah, a little BMW.
Good fidget, yeah.
Mm-hmm. The other car we had last week was, if you all recall, the 2022 Porsche 911 GT3.
6-speed manual.
6-speed manual, baby. Guards red. And oh, what a car.
Yeah, unbelievable experience.
It was truly a high expectation, high result car.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, who doesn't love a GT3? Like, it's just...
Yeah, heathens, really.
Yeah.
Degenerates who can't drive stick.
Well, there's PDKs.
Yeah, I know, but maybe they'd be like, I like the Turbo S better because it's all automatic.
No, those
faster.
No, those people like the Model S Plaid. If they care, if they're a 12-year-old that cares about straight line speed and acceleration 0 to 60 only, then their favorite car is the Model S Plaid.
Yes.
Have you seen that Model S Plaid yoke steering wheels are disintegrating at 10,000 miles? All of the leather is just coming off. It's just flaking off the steering wheel.
That's gross.
Yeah.
How many miles does Mr. Benes have? Not 10,000.
Hardly any.
Yeah.
I mean, he drives it, but I don't think. I mean, he doesn't have far to go. So
yeah, I'd be curious to see.
It's probably got a few thousand on it.
Okay.
3,000 or 4,000 maybe.
Sure. All right.
To see. He's very careful with his cars, though. His steering wheel will probably hold up just fine.
Yeah.
But to the average person that lives in LA, that's just
eating in and out and then getting into their model
being rough with their steering wheel and stuff. They are disintegrating.
Well, and what's remarkable is that you don't even have to touch the steering wheel half the time because you presumably have
driving.
Yeah, it's driving itself. So it's interesting. So really, it's 5,000 miles.
It could also be cars that sit outside and get
baked.
The sun bakes onto it.
That's
if it's a garage kept car, I'm sure it would have a better chance as well.
Sure. Yeah, the 911 GT3 is the ultimate driver's car still to this day.
Yes, it is.
Every input of that car, even before I'd even started it up, shifting it back and going through the gears a little bit in Chris's garage, you could feel how direct the shifter was, how perfectly balanced the clutches. I mean, when you consider almost every car we get in, there's a little something like, oh, I don't really love the way this feels, or oh, like I'm thinking of like Shelby GT350, for example. Like, I don't like the way the clutch feels.
Clutch is terrible in that car.
And the shifting's not too fantastic. I love just about everything else about how it drives, but there's a downside. The 911, I guess the closest thing to a maybe kind of downside you come up with is it was quite twitchy from like a tramlining sort of standpoint. It was yanking you around
a little bit,
but that's just part of the allure of the driving experience of like you have to be dialed into that car.
You have to respect it.
You do have to respect it. And there really are not too many cars these days like that, ladies and gentlemen. Like the McLaren GT, that we had last year. Just put your foot down and go a billion miles per hour. Like,
Yeah.
it was hardcore, but it
very
wasn't
easy
difficult.
to drive. Yeah.
No, not at all. I mean, this would be the type of car that like it's not even a matter of trust. It's just a matter of like I know someone who wasn't fully engaged and interested in driving that car would have a bad time. Like they just either wouldn't do it or wouldn't enjoy it.
Yeah. They'd be stressed.
It's a car that you have to want
Oh yeah.
to do better. You
Yes.
have to want to be better.
Yeah, it's like,
to
if I
enjoy
do
the
this differently, I can
GT3.
get this shift just that much smoother this time. And
Yep.
it's like it's like that. It's like a game, and
Yes.
it's just exquisite.
And then there's the sound.
9,000.
9,000 RPM redline. And it's so uncanny to be in a car, even all the sports cars we drive and everything, that almost every car you have to shift it 65, maybe 7,000 RPM if it's a naturally aspirated, particularly sporty type car.
Like my Cayman revs to 7,000.
Right. But in this car, you get to that point, you're like, oh, do I
Time
need to shift?
Nope, I've still got
Nope.
2,000 RPM to go.
Yep.
And
And
it screams so loud.
unlike the Mustang Shelby GT350, that once you get above 7,000 RPM, you still have a few thousand RPM to go. It sounds like the whole thing's about to rattle itself apart in a cool way, but you're like every time. The 911, like you could drive at 8,000 RPM if you wanted to, and it would just
It's
be
so
it'd be
smooth.
screaming,
Yeah.
but it's still so smooth and so happy to be there. Like yeah,
Yeah.
it's like a sprinter, just full tilt, but like he
Yeah.
could keep doing that for a whole 800 meters.
That was the thing. I mean, I roll around a lot at 4,000 RPM, and it just felt normal. Like
Oh,
a
yeah.
car at 1,500 RPM, you know?
Yeah. Gosh, what else? The interior, very well laid out. A little strange to have the cup holder, the middle one where it was, not a huge
I
deal.
mean, it's the same design you'd get in a car with a PDK, and if you have a PDK, it's not a problem.
Mhm.
They give you another cup holder that pops out of the dash too. So.
Yeah. I did have a slight longing for Sport Chrono Pack. I looked up on the dash at
Did it
one
not
point.
have it?
It didn't
I
have the
didn't
little
even
tick,
notice.
tick, 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 tick. I was kind of like,
The Macan had that.
I know.
That's so
I'm
funny.
a little surprised. Don't get me wrong. I think Sport
Could be
Chrono
a-
is
could
like
be a-
kind of silly.
Chip shortage.
Chip shortage for the Sport Chrono. But I for that type of car, the I was so used to looking out on the dash of a Porsche and seeing that silly little clock, and for it not to have it, I was kind of like, oh, okay. The other thing that's kind of weird is the frunk is carbon fiber, and it's so light. It feels like it's just insignificant, not there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's still so solid. at the
It's
same
nice
time.
when you close it and a nice click. It's very nice.
Goodyear tires, surprisingly. Goodyear Eagle F1s.
Eagle F1s.
Not Sport, Pilot Sport Cup 2Rs like I expected. Whatever, Cup Rs, Cup 2s, whatever.
Yeah.
Cup somethings. Because
Cup.
that's what the last car had.
I cup.
Michelin's. Yeah. Still a fairly practical car, too. You put a bunch of things in the
I
front.
did. The frunk is huge. I mean,
put
but
things in the
people don't
front.
realize, and it's not just the 911. I mean,
No, that's
the
part of the reason I
Cayman,
bought the Boxster.
the Cayman's even more practical because you've got two boots. You've got your frunk, and you have all of the room behind the engine to
Yes.
use.
When I was between the Boxster and the Z4 and the Corvette, the Boxster had as much storage space. I didn't actually consider a Corvette. I should have.
Thank you. I was like, I've never heard this.
I know.
What generation would you have considered
C5.
a C5? Okay.
I should have, but I didn't because I didn't want to be a Corvette owner.
Yeah.
Which I understand. I forgive myself for that. I just wish I had considered it because C5s are cool. But the Boxster had as much cargo volume in its frunk and trunk as the Vet and the Z4 did simply in their trunks.
Yes.
Yeah, which was pretty cool.
But with the Corvette, you would have been able to fit golf clubs.
Yes.
Mm.
And the Corvette, yeah, has a little bit of kind of flex space behind the seats.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, I would have had to vote Republican had I bought
Sure.
the Corvette.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'd be in a different situation here. Yep. But the closest thing that I have to a complaint about the GT3 is I'm not a big fan of the front end design. I don't like the dual nostril look. I
The
prefer
pig nose. Yeah, you prefer the 991.
This is a 991.2 for you listening on the cover of Car and Driver a few years ago, and it's an unbroken vent right there in front of the frunk.
Yeah, that's what GT3s had for a number of years. Well, I
Right.
guess just 997 and 991 had that design because I don't think the 996 had anything.
I don't think so either. I don't think I had that little.
Maybe
little
there was
vent.
they made like the 996 GT2 or something had it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that had some sort of venting. It might have had a
Some sort
split
of
one again,
different
though. But unless you have any more thoughts on the GT3, I wanted to wrap up with the end of a paragraph from the Car and Driver article from the last gen car.
No, go for it.
This was an article. It was one of the best Car and Driver, or even just like best car review articles I had ever read.
On the GT3?
Just in general. It's just very, very well written. And well, I mean there's plenty of good ones.
It's on
yes, this one's on the GT3. This was by Josh Jaco, or Jaco, if you want to be French. He actually got let go the same day I did from Car and Driver. Really? I walked up to him and I was like, I just got fired. And he's like, no way, me too. And we were like, oh, okay, fair enough.
Did you guys go get lunch after?
No, I think we both went home to our families.
Oh.
And cried. But yeah, he got to drive the 991.2 when it came out. And he wrote a great 2-page story, but his wrap-up paragraph. In the end, the GT3's most stunning properties are its refusal to fade, its connection to the driver, and its understated purposefulness. Sure, it has a big wing, but this is a relatively unflashy supercar, a car most enthusiasts would gladly drive daily. That this flavor of 911 requires great care to get right is central to its allure. That trait makes it desirable because it demands that its driver be involved rather than just entertained. And that is better than luck.
Sums it up pretty nicely.
Yeah. Yeah, the rub of his article is that it is a car that has to be respected, as you and I talked about in our review, and can be so precise and so direct and so communicative, but yet also still will bite your head off if you don't do things properly. Because the other two cars featured in this section were the new Ford GT, obviously great car, and then the McLaren 720S, which you and I have also driven.
Is that in Europe they filmed this?
2 of these were in Europe. Yeah, they weren't all together. It was 3 separate editors. They all just happened to drive cool things over the span of a month, is these 3 cars. Yeah. But he was pointing out that the 911 is the only one with a manual.
Yep.
And like we kind of said earlier, anyone can kind of get in the McLaren and the Ford GT, put their foot down and go crazy fast. It's the 911 that actually rewards and requires a competent driver to do it.
Sure.
Yeah.
And that's why we love it.
That's why we love it. And then maybe someday
that is
one of these
GT2 RS.
Right.
Which a lot of people don't like as much because it doesn't rev as high.
Yeah, I don't think I'd like it as much to like own, but I've never driven one of these, but I've heard
Edward's driven one.
It's just insane.
Oh yeah.
Like
yeah. I mean, it makes like 200 more horsepower than the GT3, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. Just crazy.
That's wild. I mean, it's basically like a Turbo S, but it has all the the kit.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
And I don't know that it's all-wheel drive. I think isn't it rear-wheel drive? Yeah, so it's just bonkers.
Yeah. Pretty sweet.
Yep.
Thank you, Porsche, and thank you, Mazda.
Thank you, Porsche.
Mazda is just the Porsche of
thank you, Mazda.
Everyday cars. Yep. Last week, we also didn't drive, but got to sit in a Chevy Equinox.
I'm glad that you brought that up because that was the highlight of our day before Joe Biden kicked us out of the auto show.
Yes. Yeah. Now, Daily Motor has no political affiliation. However, we were a bit disappointed to find that we traveled down to Detroit, as we established, unfortunately, against our wishes, and parked in a very smart lot.
Oh my God.
And walked in and
I had blocked the parking situation out from my mind, and now I'm just going to think about it again.
And then we got into the auto show. We made our way into the Chevrolet and Lincoln booths, checked out the new Corsair, which is apparently new, and checked out a few Chevys, Buicks,
Cadillac,
and it made it to the GMC before the president, leader of the free world, decided, he walked over to us and he said, "Hey, Chris, Charlie, I'd really like to have some time just, by myself to check out the cars here." And we were like, all right, fine, do what you need to do. So we left and killed about 3 hours before finally throwing in the lobby. Towel, and going.
And then we killed another 3 hours trying to find the car because Charlie wanted to just use his memory like a dad would, which makes me think maybe you're not telling me something.
Should I go home and tell Alyssa she should?
Yeah, because very much in the same way that when you like try to go somewhere and you're asking your dad, like, or you're telling your dad you're going to go somewhere, And you're like, can you just give me the address? And he's like, oh, no, I'm going to tell you how to get there. And he like gives you step-by-step directions when all you really need is the address because you can just put it into your GPS and find it. That's what it was like walking with Charlie trying to find our parked car. And we walked 0.9 of a mile. My watch recorded it, 0.9 of a mile before we found the car. And it was probably like 0.2 of a mile from the place.
Maybe 0.3.
Maybe 0.3.
Because we walked down and then
down
back,
down
and down
back.
again. I was just trying to make your life easier.
To be fair, Detroit is a maze.
Yeah.
And it's not easy to find anything. The parking structures are all very confusing.
Right. And I knew where it was. I was just seeing if we could take a shortcut.
Yes.
And it turned out that we could.
We could not.
Yes.
Yeah.
Trust me, this way's faster.
This way's faster.
Yeah. We did get to say hi to Joe and Lisa Rady, who were also waiting
Lori.
for Mr. Biden.
Lori,
sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, Lori. And also Sophian.
And
Keith
Alex and Brian.
Yeah. Who's Sophian's assistant's name? I'm blanking.
I don't think I've ever met them, so I don't
His
know.
fiance is Keith. But anyway, they were there also waiting for Joey to head out. But eventually they got let back in. Chris and I came home. Probably shot a car or something like that.
I edited a review.
Mm-hmm. I think I did as well, actually.
Yeah.
I think I came home and did that. So, Detroit Auto Show, a little bit of a bust.
Read Jalopnik's article.
But we did go back that night.
Yeah, we did.
And see the reveal of the all-new 2024 Ford Mustang.
Yeah, the
seventh
S650.
S650, which makes me think of Mercedes. I don't like that they do that, but...
Well, the last one was S550, which is
Right.
literally a
It is
Mercedes.
really-
S650 is not a Mercedes.
I know,
yeah,
but it
it
very
probably
well
will be
could- yeah.
someday.
Mm-hmm.
Because right now we're on S580.
Yeah,
And,
and they can't go down.
I was going to say, they have to
keep going
inflate
up.
the number every year. Yeah, so the next one will probably be S620 or some shit.
Yeah, because they already had S600.
Yeah,
so
the
it's gonna be
S600 is a V12, but I don't think you
doesn't
can
exist
have a
anymore.
V12 anymore.
Right.
Yeah, and similarly depressing, you can no longer have a V12 BMW. The last one of those I think was sold in 22.
Yeah. Big rip.
M760i.
Mm-hmm.
Really wanted to spend. I mean, I have driven a few of them, so I shouldn't be,
Yeah, you're luckier than most.
I mean, I know. I'm lucky that I've driven. I think I've driven two of them, both of which were individual colors and specs.
What colors were they?
The first one, was some sort of blue color with like a bright white interior, which was the individual option. I don't think the exterior color was individual, but the interior was.
Okay.
And then the second one was a frozen color. It was like a frozen gray, which I think every frozen color is an individual option.
Not anymore, but maybe back then.
Yeah,
on
the
7
one I
Series.
drove was a 2019. It was before the LCI, so the one without the massive
Yeah,
grills.
that was probably.
Yeah, that was a cool car. That car had, I think, red interior, if I remember right.
Gray and
It
red.
was a cool spec. It was like matte black with red interior, or matte gray.
Hmm.
Yeah, that was a cool car. I drove that downtown Chicago.
Yeah,
I went 2.5 months without driving a car, and I brought that up to a friend of a friend, and he was like, "I've got an M760i if you want to drive it." And I was like, "Yes, I want to, but I haven't driven in 2.5 months," and I was so nervous, but it was fine. I didn't hit anything, so.
Like riding a bike.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh, yeah, I just backtrack on what we were talking about. New Mustang.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Just got distracted.
I quite like it.
I think it looks great. Everyone is, whenever a new car comes out, everyone that is on the internet that owns a 2008 Honda Civic or whatever else clapped bullshit, they always talk a bunch of shit about new cars, but I really like the S650. I think here's the problem.
Okay.
They would have gotten like, people would have been pissed either way, because everyone all the time is like, oh, this looks like this and blah, blah, blah. They say it to BMW. BMW has gone crazy with some of their designs recently and everyone hates it. So Ford played it a little safe. It looks similar to the S550.
Yep.
It's a little bit different. The biggest differences, honestly, are the steering wheel and the big infotainment screen and some of the cool, like the electronic e-brake and some of the other features that they've added to the car. And everyone's like, oh, it's such a disappointment. It looks just like the old one. And then there's people that are like, oh, they copied a Camaro. It looks just like a Camaro.
Yeah, I don't get that.
I don't get it either. I don't think it looks anything like a Camaro.
Yeah.
But it's just proof that you can never please anybody.
No.
Can never please everybody is what I am trying to say.
Yeah.
I think it looks good. I think that it's a nice evolution of the S550.
Mm-hmm. No, I think it's a car they couldn't screw up. Like they shouldn't screw up, and I don't think they did.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, that's what matters most is being screwed up. And I was a little concerned when they announced the GT, and he's like 480 plus horsepower, and I was like, really? They didn't just get it up to 500? And then the Dark Horse came out, and they're like 500 plus, baby.
Yeah. So the what does the current GT make?
470 tech now, but it made 480 up until this year.
Yeah, I was gonna say because emissions.
Something or other.
The one model years has like the weird emissions shit, which I'm sure you could change so easily.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, so the new 480 plus, so it'll probably be like 485 or something, and then the Dark Horse will have 500.
Mm-hmm.
That'll be cool. Dark Horse is a totally new brand, like it's a totally new name.
Yeah, totally new model or trim. Trim.
Which I think is cool because you can only reuse plaques so many times. You know, we've had the Boss again. We had the Boss a couple times. We've had the Mach 1 now a couple of times. We've had the Bullet like 4 times. So like I don't know, it's cool that they're starting something new. I'm all about nostalgia, but I'm also all about a new trim because now in 30 years there will be another Dark Horse, and everyone will be like, oh, I remember in 2024 I had a Dark Horse. You know?
I remember I was at the reveal when it came out.
Yeah, right.
And they're like, shut up, Dad, no one cares. Even Alyssa thought the Dark Horse was cool. It's in this unique dark purple-y color, the one we saw, and yeah, I mean that is something.
Yeah.
So
the way they kind of described it is it's kind of like an evolution of the GT350, except it doesn't have the flat plane crank because they had a lot of problems. Sounds like a car's being worked on outside.
I believe it is. Yes, I think Keone's getting down to business.
Do I need to shut?
If it gets worse, we'll shut our doors right here.
I think doors are already shut though.
Well, this one right here. I mean.
Oh, that one. Okay.
Yeah. What was I gonna say? Oh, I do feel like I couldn't tell if they were how track serious they're trying to go with the Dark Horse. I do kind of like when they do a special edition that isn't track focused. Like the Bullet was not a track focused special edition. It was like, here's some extra power, here's some cool paint, here's some cool font and everything. But like, it's not like a PPL2 that's just supposed to be used on the track. I'm not quite sure where the Dark Horse is going to lie with that.
Probably track, but we don't know because like the Mach 1, you could go either way.
Exactly.
You could have the street focus Mach 1, or you could have the track focus Mach 1, which is like what we had.
Yeah.
So they could do that with the Dark Horse. I mean, they could. I mean, this one obviously in the picture is like a very track focused car. It looks just like the Mach 1.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if there was like a Dark Horse and then a Dark Horse track pack.
Right. So Daily Motor top tip: if you wanted to buy a Camaro or a Challenger, too bad.
Yeah, bad luck.
Get a Mustang. That's what Ford's telling you.
That's the funniest.
And that's also what Chevy and Dodge is telling you.
I was gonna say it's the funniest clapback when everyone's like, "Oh," it's like, all right, well, this is your choice. Like Ford is the only company that actually cares and kept the V8 and everything around. So
here's a question for you then: where does the Mach-E fit in now that the 7th gen coupe and convertible are out? Like, should the Mach-E continue being called a Mustang? Does there need to be a new gen Mach-E now? Because there's also a new gen.
There probably will be a new gen Mach-E.
Like,
yeah.
Or is the Mach-E always going to be like sort of shared name, but a completely different model cycle?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's off to the side because Mustang, the way that they put it is like Ford, and we've talked about this. Ford has like these sub brands. There's the Bronco sub brand and there's the Mustang sub brand now. So the Mach-E falls into that, and the Bronco and the Bronco Sport fall into the Bronco sub brand. It's all under Ford.
I just think they need to either double down and fully commit to this whole sub-brand thing, or they need to pull out. Because here's what you got going on. You had ST, which you already took from SVT. So let's go back. You had SVT, had started to build a name for itself, killed it. Then you had ST, started building a name for itself. Then you brought RS also over here, because ST and RS were already in Europe. But you brought them over to America.
ST is still here.
I know. But they were building themselves up, and then you neutered ST. Killed RS, neutered ST.
Yep.
And then neutered it even further by, rather than coming out with like some like STE for Mach-E or something, you came out with this Mustang Mach-E. So now you're saying Mustang is the sports car sub-brand, but ST is also sporty. Okay.
I could see.
So that's kind of confusing.
I could see ST getting phased out eventually. Yeah.
Then Ford also they've got the Bronco sub-brand, but then they also have this Tremor sub-brand going on. And then they've also got the Raptor sub-brand going on now.
Yeah.
And then they've also got Timberline starting up.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't get me wrong, I get it. I think they need to just focus on their branding and marketing and get it right. And then if they get it right, they'll do really well.
I think the problem is Ford has so many ideas and they just simply cannot execute them in time for them to like be as optimized as they can be. Did you hear what I just said?
Yeah.
Okay. And I think that's why it seems a little bit jumbled, especially with like COVID and everything. The Bronco, everything got set back like a year or two. So now they've got all these things that they're just trying to push out, and it just seems a little
I also
unplanned.
think it's a little tough. I know American brands have a lot of churn, and so you might get different project leaders who are only there for like a year and a half, and then someone new comes in. So I mean, they've had that with CEOs. We're on Farley now. We had Jim Hackett right before this. Whatever his face, who was there for actually a little while before that, and then Alan Mullally, I think, before that. So it's like, as anyone who isn't smooth-brained should know, anything that like when a new president comes in, whether it's the president of a nation or a company or whatever, you're not going to see most of the like aspects of their leadership until years on. I mean, the car development pipeline, unless it's like strict things like announcements like we're going to build 15 EVs in 10 years or something, or it's something like we're killing this model right now. Usually things like a new model, you're not seeing the result of their leadership until years later. So yeah, right now we're seeing the cool Broncos and Mustangs and Marquis and everything, but the current presidents of Ford don't deserve that credit. It's people that put that into motion years ago.
Yeah.
So I feel kind of bad for people who get pushed out and they're like, well, you're not doing shit with this company. But then it's like, then their stuff comes out a year or two later and you're like, oh, that was actually pretty cool. Too bad.
Yeah.
So all of that's to say is, yes, I agree with you. I know there's a lot going on and they're dealing with all these things, but what they need is to just keep some leadership around.
Yeah.
And narrow and focus things down and take what's doing well and cut out what's doing poorly.
I agree.
Us as Ford enthusiasts will continue to support you.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Fun fact: the gentleman who dropped off our Volvo today, big Ford enthusiast. Because I was
Really?
like, I was like, I don't understand why everyone doesn't just buy Volvo V60s. Like, he's like, I don't really like them, and I'm like, really? You don't care? He's like, yeah, I just never get comfortable in Volvos and
drive
stuff.
an Escape.
Well, and he finally told me that like he grew up with a Ford family and everything, so I brought him in and showed us all of our clapped Fords and stuff and the Mercury commuter out back and everything. And then he showed me he has this super cool, and all the boomers who listen to the Daily Motor podcast are going to be furious, but some 1974 Ford muscle car that looked sick.
Probably a Torino.
It was smaller, I think, than that.
Pinto?
Let me see. 1970.
Maverick.
It wasn't a Maverick.
Maverick, Pinto, Torino, Mustang 2.
Pinto's small, right?
Yeah.
It was no, it was not a Pinto.
Look up the Torino.
Oh yeah, because they made a Grand Torino, right? That was larger.
Yeah, Starsky and Hutch car was a Torino.
I don't think it was one of these either.
Well,
Ford. Oh crap, it was a Maverick. That's funny. Yeah. It looked sick though. It was he was showing me photos and everything. It looked like none of these. It was like a bright lime green. It'd been restored very well. Kind of like, it looked very much like this.
that's very cool.
Was it one of these? Let me see the back end. No, are these all 4-doors or did they make they made a coupe?
No, they did both.
What else did they build in 1974? Because
Just look up 1974 Ford.
yeah. Oh, great.
Oh, okay. Car. Mavericks. Oh, here, go down to that.
This one? Or this one right here? No, not at all. Classic car catalog. Here we go. They had the Pinto, the Maverick, Torino, the Grand Torino, the Custom 500. What is that? Maybe it was a Thunderbird. This is the Maverick. And the Grand Torino. No. Mm-hmm.
Mustang 2.
It wasn't a Mustang 2. Did they only make the Mustang 2?
Yeah, because there was no regular Mustang. It was Mustang 2.
That's a dumb name. Well, I'm sorry, Wally. It must have been a Maverick.
Yeah.
I mean, he was just showing me photos on his phone. I thought it looked more aggressive than that. But either way.
Could have had some aftermarket stuff on it that made it look.
Yeah.
More.
Maybe. Either way, it was cool. And being a Ford family person yourself, kind of. I think you'd appreciate that.
Somewhat, yeah. My parents actually had.
They've been all over.
I was gonna say, growing up though, my parents only had Chrysler.
Yeah.
Until 2013, my dad bought a Fusion, but prior to that, it was all Jeeps and Rams.
That's because his alternative at Chrysler was an Avenger.
Yeah, but also my uncle works. I don't know if he still does or not, if he's retired, but he worked at Chrysler, so we always got a good discount. So my mom always had a Grand Cherokee or a Durango or something, and then they switched because I was like, stop buying Chryslers.
My parents too switched from Chryslers over to Fords, and then to now they're half Japanese, half Ford. So
yeah.
And your parents, once your mom gets her Lexus.
Oh, my mom's got a BMW now, but
right. Well, my dad also did BMW for a hot sec. Had a 330 or the 325.
My mom loves
and
her
an
car.
X1.
She loves her BMW.
Why is she getting rid of it?
Because she just wants.
It's
to
not
get
very easy to get in and out of, you know.
Mm-hmm. The seats. I mean, in her defense, the seats are not very comfortable. It's like a sport pack car, so it's got sport seats, which are not very comfortable. It's low to the ground. I mean, it has a decent sidewall, but still, I mean, in a 3 Series BMW is not going to be as comfortable driving down the road as an X3 or an Lexus NX or something. So, like, I don't blame her. I mean, she lived out her few years. She's always wanted a BMW, so it was really big for her to pull the trigger on a BMW and have that. But
yeah,
I think that she's done it. She can say she's done it, and now she's just ready to get back to like a normal car.
And she's done it without experiencing any like catastrophic BMW things. So
yeah, no, she bought it certified pre-owned. It was 2 years old, and I think it had like 30,000 miles on it or something.
Yeah.
And now it's got like 60 something thousand, and it's really been a great car. It's super efficient on the highway. It's like 30, like mid 30s mpg, and probably even more if you're
putzing.
Yeah, just putzing. So
nice.
It's great. I mean, it's a beautiful car. I love that the F30.
And it's rocking some Continental DWS 06 Plus all-season tires.
Thank you, Julie.
Shout out Continental.
Appreciate Julie from Continental for hooking that up. Those tires are great. I'm shocked at how nice those tires were in the snow.
Yeah.
For an all-season tire, those tires are freaking, like, I don't see how you could get any better than that.
I'm frustrated because we're getting new wheels for my dad's Tacoma, and he wants either Cooper tires or Hancooks, and they're the two brands. They're pretty well rated tires on Tire Rack because they're all terrains and stuff. But
I guess with all terrains, it's probably pretty hard to screw that up. Seriously,
no, because he wants a certain all terrain that like also is pretty quiet on the road and stuff and whatever truck guy stuff. You don't question dads on things.
No, that's right. You don't. Yep. You don't question dads.
Yep. But he's picked like the two brands that we have zero press contacts at. So I'm like,
start doing some work.
I know. I've been trying, knocking on like virtual doors, being like, "Hey."
Me, circa 2020, hitting up like a million brands.
Cold calling. And now if he had been like, "Yeah, I'd look to use Continental," I'd be like, "Done, already on it."
I've already had them.
Yeah.
If you, yeah.
So, we'll figure it out.
We're working on it, Dad.
Yep. And I think we are ready to move on to cars coming this week.
Oh, sorry.
But quick side note, I have somebody planning on coming to pick up my bike, and he has committed. He said, because he texted me yesterday and said he's interested, and I texted him today. And he said he'll be leaving town to head over on 5.
Cool.
Yeah. I have very little faith in Facebook Marketplace people, especially now because somebody was supposed to come get the bike this weekend and no call, no showed. Degenerates. As I said. This week at Daily Motor Headquarters, we are driving, as you heard earlier, a Volvo. It is a 2023 Volvo.
It's a 3?
I believe it's a 3 V60 B5 cross country.
Does it have a crystal shift knob?
Probably not. Let's go to old Volvo.
How can you have a nice Volvo without a crystal shift knob, though, Charlie?
Chris, that's just
it's going to diminish our Volvo experience if it doesn't have a crystal shift knob.
Is it, Chris? I like how Volvo buries gasoline cars down here. Like you have to be like, yeah, I hate the environment. You got to click down.
48 grand.
Yeah, so this is it, the V60 cross country. You can no longer buy a normal V60 unless it's a Polestar. Let's go to...
Still quite attractive.
It's very attractive. Well, and it being black, it kind of hides the cladding.
I was going to say, if the one thing we have to deal with is cladding, then that's okay.
Mm-hmm. So we've probably got an ultimate.
There's no way we don't have an ultimate. Harman Kardon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't think you can get the big... They don't typically offer Bowers and Wilkins on
It's probably still A
cars.
tier, though.
Although maybe it's an option. Let's say it probably is A tier. Ultimate B5. That is a 250 horse, 258 pound-foot, 2-liter mild hybrid. That's why they're all Bs now. You can't hear it when it
starts.
That means that's why all the Volvos are Bs instead of Ts. It means they're mild hybrids.
Oh, cool.
Mm-hmm. That's why they shifted over.
Yeah, that S90 was a B. Something.
Yep. Mm-hmm. B6. So here's the different colors you get. I would get either Fusion Red.
That is sick.
I know. That is the wagon I would get right there.
Oh, is that green? Is there a green you can get?
This is...
I know that one looks kind of gray, but what about the one directly next to it?
Oh, this?
Yeah.
Because there's Thunder Gray. This is Platinum Gray.
Oh, Platinum Gray. Okay, it looks kind of green from
And then there's Silver Dawn.
Oh, be honest, Charlie, you'd have beige.
No, I would not. Although it's actually gold. It's retirement gold.
Yeah.
Bright Dusk.
I actually quite like that color. I think
we have this. I think we have Onyx Black. Do you think we have Onyx Black or Blackstone? I think it's probably Onyx Black.
Whatever one is an optional extra. So
yeah.
probably Onyx.
19-inch wheels. Thank goodness. That's the largest they go.
Crystal shift knob.
Hey, you're right. There you go. Maybe it's in the ultimate one. You could get amber ventilated Napa and charcoal.
That is a gorgeous color.
Mm-hmm.
Volvo interiors for the last, whenever they kind of revamped their whole lineup, the dimensions in the interior, especially when you have I hope ours has that.
Optional Bowers and Wilkins premium sound. Should we take a look at our...
I was going to say, check the Monroney.
I looked this morning and there was no Monroney, so let's check and see if it happened to have gotten uploaded. Joe at Drive Shop, I know you've been busy, so yep, no Monroney. No images even. Onyx Black, that is the color. Yeah, cool. So Chris and I are going to go check that out after this.
Yeah,
I'm excited.
We're going to take it to Starbucks.
Yeah, it's it's a Volvo V60. Throwback. My first year of Daily Motor, we had a retirement gold Volvo T5 V60 cross country, and it was one of my favorite cars that year. I did the review. I'm like, this is the perfect car for $55,000.
No, I'm really looking forward to it.
Mm-hmm.
I love Volvos. Every Volvo that I've driven has been great. The gas powered XC40 wasn't the greatest thing, but it wasn't bad.
No.
Whatever.
Yeah, when even your least desirable model
it's
is
still a great car.
I would be happy with it.
The XC40 Recharge is it's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
It's so I was gonna say the F word, but I decided not to. But the XC40 Recharge is really cool. It's really fast. I think it looks cool, and it's a really cool package. Same with the C40 because you can get some real funky carpet colors.
Well, here's a tough question for you then. Would you take a full tilted CX-5 Signature or a base XC60?
That's tough. I haven't driven a base XC60, so I don't really know.
Mm-hmm. I think it'd be tough for me too.
Yeah.
I think I'd take the Mazda for the features and...
What powertrain's in the XC60? Because
it's the same B5,
okay.
2-liter turbo.
So I could go more than 3 days without putting gas in it. Maybe I'd take the XC60.
Yeah. Yeah, that is a good point.
Yeah.
Probably be slightly more fuel efficient too. But gosh, I think the Mazda would be more reliable.
Probably, but that's...
Yeah, it's a conjecture.
Yeah.
Interesting. Maybe we'll have to try to do a comparo someday. The other car we have at Daily Motor headquarters is a little less exciting, but honestly not a bad car.
No.
2022 Chevrolet.
23.
Oh, it's 23 as well. Double 23 week. 2023 Chevrolet Traverse.
High Country. Country.
It's red, black interior.
It's red, and that's all you need to know.
The best thing I can say about this car, the suspension is very well tuned. If you're the lead engineer for the Traverse,
it's nice.
And
I think
give your suspension tuner a raise.
I think they called you in and they said, Charlie, we know that you've driven so many Buick LeSabres of the early 2000s, and we really want you to shine all of your experience and your knowledge of the early 2000s Buick LeSabre into the suspension and steering tuning on the new Traverse.
And they did. They hit me up. I went in. I told them it should float this much. And sure thing, you go over speed bumps and
it just floats.
But it's good. I honestly think that's quite good.
I can see why people like those. I mean, you just get in it and it's just like a couch.
Yeah.
It's like driving a couch. It's
It
like
really is.
quintessential American car.
So American.
Which is cool because
is what those buyers are looking for.
I said in our intro to the car, you get in a Ford Explorer, and I think the Explorer at this point is trying too hard to be a sports car.
It is.
And it shouldn't be. I don't know what the deal is with everyone trying to be so sporty now. Like every car is just like, well, I have to be so sporty, but
Sporty,
the Traverse is
angry,
not like that.
Yeah.
The Traverse is just a couch, and I
the
respect
Traverse.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll see if we still respect the car after a week, but
We'll see. We don't know yet. We've driven it for like 30 minutes combined. So
we're missing rear parking sensors because of the chip shortage.
yes, but there will be a retrofit, and to compensate you, they give you $50 off the MSRP of your car.
The MSRP of $55,000.
Ooh, $50. Yeah.
Yeah.
They could tack on $50 for something else and scam you, and
You'd never know.
You'd never know.
Honestly,
it should be like $500 for your inconvenience to have to take a day, go in, have your car serviced. I mean, it's
probably
like
get a really crappy loaner if you get a loaner at all.
They're like, it's like $50 is almost an insult in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I agree. And Chevy has been very well known to just inflate the prices of their cars and then immediately throw discounts on them anyway. Soon there's going to be a chip shortage discount, like at your local Chevy dealer. Like, we're having a chip shortage special. All these cars are missing blah, 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 but we're going to chop the price down for you. Save $500 a month when you come in and you buy this Chevy Traverse with no parking sensors or heated seats.
Yeah.
Get it retrofitted sometime in 2026 after your lease is up. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
But we'll see.
We'll see. And only 2 cars this week. It's a week.
It feels nice.
I was gonna say the past like 4 weeks in a row we've had 3 cars, which has been kind of crazy.
It really has been. Any Copart cars for
us? Yes.
Okay.
The first car is bright orange, actually, and it's only got 28,000 miles on it.
I do like bright orange. Steve from next door might be interested in it.
He's gonna love this, and I really hope he's watching.
Okay.
You ready?
Let me sign in because that matters. Goodness.
Ooh, some impacting is happening. 549 112 32. And Steve, this one is like actually really for you.
Is it a Camaro?
No, it's better.
Wow, actually, not wrong. This is a 2012 Harley Davidson
FLHTCU SE7 CVO Ultra Classic Electric Glide.
This is actually the bike that he has. He has a CVO.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I saw it and I was like, oh, Steve would love this. It says damage is all over. I assume someone just dropped it.
Oh yeah, here's the.
It's a $19,000 bike still if it's fixed or it's in it's in.
It's a Harley Davidson edition, so it's orange.
You could just drive it like this. I feel like. I mean, it doesn't. I mean,
it does say run and drive, and it shows the odometer. Yeah, this thing.
Buy it now, $9,500.
Wow, 9501.
9501. Sorry.
But yeah, the bid's only at $950 with less than a day left.
I mean, what is it realistically worth? All beat up like this, like $5,000.
I mean, I really don't know. I'm not a Harley enthusiast, but
it
honestly,
still looks like a nice bike.
A lot of the parts seem like they're there, and you could think about how much people mod Harleys out and customize them and work it. I'm sure some, like the place right up the street on Ford Road, would probably be able to fix this up in a week and have it be like a $20,000 bike. So it's still got a clean title. Yeah, that's cool. Someone will do well with that.
Yeah.
Good find, Chris.
I've got one that you might like.
Oh gosh.
That you might want to bid on.
Okay.
But I think it's already so expensive that it's like scary.
Okay.
545 353 82.
This is a 2006 Mercury Grand Marquis.
Yes, with only slight damage. It was definitely old fart owned. It's just got a little dent there on the quarter panel. I guess it's more than a dent. The quarter panel is pretty messed up. but it's only got 52,000 miles on it. It's super clean.
It does look pretty clean.
Reserve is off, and it's at $1,600 already, which is kind of a lot of money, I feel like.
Yeah, especially for an auction car. I mean,
it's a facelift car.
Yeah.
It's got the newer front end.
I saw one of these on Craigslist for $2,500 recently that was like crazy clean.
Really?
Yeah.
I almost
sent it to you.
That's the problem, is that a lot of these cars, like the Grand Marquis, Crown Victorias, Lincoln Town Cars, and Continentals, and all that stuff, all of them are clean because they're all driven by old people.
Yes.
So if you haven't gotten one, or if you don't come across one that hasn't yet been passed down to the grandchildren that have put Monster Energy stickers on it and ruined it, most of them are actually pretty clean.
Mm-hmm. Plus, this is $1,600 current bid. That means you're walking out of here at like what, $2,400?
No, not that. Probably like a little over $2,000.
Okay. I mean, I'm pretty sure we paid like $800 for my Escape, and I walked out of that with like $1,200. So you're looking at probably $400 or $500. I mean, that's including taxes too.
True. Okay, yeah.
So yeah,
you're probably around $2,200 for this car.
Right.
I think I would pay $2,200 for
I think
it,
I
honestly.
would. If it were like a buy it now at 16, I could see that.
Yeah, and then just get the but you know it's going to go for more.
Right, because it hasn't even gone for auction.
Get that quarter fixed, and
yeah.
I mean, allegedly,
and it's in Detroit, not Flint, so that's nice.
You were right. Alleged retail value on this car is $9,500. That seems a little optimistic to me.
At all.
Seems very optimistic.
No, idiots.
Yeah.
Any more?
I don't think so. I think those were the two that I had for you. But let me double check.
Proper one to end on. Grand Marquis.
Yeah, I'm still watching the G6 convertible, which has a $650 buy it now price.
Okay. And
I'm also watching the Suzuki scooter thing.
Oh, the Bergman.
Yeah, I'm still watching that. That goes in a day.
What's that at?
$0.
Yeah. Wasn't it? It was super smashed, right?
I think it was like a flood or
okay.
something, because it's like covered in like a layer of dust.
Yeah.
And I'm watching a couple more, but I don't know that anyone would really want to see them. Yeah.
Sure.
So it's a Mercedes and a BMW that I feel like people wouldn't really care about. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Speaking of watching, did you happen to set aside time last night to watch a Scandi flick?
I did. And well, I don't want to spoil it for anyone. We can talk about it after, because if people haven't watched it yet, I don't want to spoil anything.
If you haven't watched it yet, turn the podcast off now. We'll see you next week on episode 40.
Okay. So now we're going to talk about spoiler warning, William. If you haven't watched it yet, you need to turn us off now. I know that you don't want to, but yeah. My like heart sank when they were in the tunnel and James had his incident. Because I did no prior research. I just literally went into Amazon. I didn't watch the trailer, nothing.
Yep. Same.
I went in, I just clicked it, and I started watching. So, they're doing this thing where they're like doing a speed run in a tunnel.
Which I thought was a little sketch.
Me
to begin with.
I watched Jeremy's run, and I was like, oh my God. Like, I was after his run, I was like, the other two aren't going to do it. I was like, that was sketchy, because he stopped like fucking 10 feet from the wall.
Yeah, and the lights were like not even turning on in time by the time he like drove through and stuff.
Yeah, I was like Hammond's for sure not gonna do it because he'll crash. And
so James went second.
Yeah, and he freaking hit the wall hard.
Yeah,
I don't know how he didn't get more hurt. That
was an aggressive.
That looked like it could have killed. Like it looked like he could have died.
That's the type of hit, especially not wearing helmets.
Yeah, no helmets.
Yeah, but like that's the type of hit that paralyzes people.
Like
your neck flailing around.
His neck went like it looked like out the window of the car. Or he hit the B pillar.
Yeah,
which could have saved him actually hitting the B pillar, because it may not have hyperextended his neck, to hurt it more.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, it was very scary. I was like nauseous after like for the rest of the episode. I was kind of like thrown off. I'm surprised that
it gave a weird vibe to the rest of the.
It gave a very weird vibe to the rest of the episode. Yeah. I was like, ooh. Yeah, it was scary to watch. I
did still thoroughly enjoy it, and you probably were a little bit more emotionally affected because you are essentially James May reincarnate.
No, it sounds silly, but like just growing up watching those guys constantly and like seeing one of them like be in a situation like that is like scary. I don't know. I'm glad that he didn't get super hurt though. He broke a rib. Literally cracked a rib, and that was it.
I was amazed he continued with that.
Me too.
Episode. I mean, the whole
kept
filming.
driving, and then drove the Evo into a lake.
I was like, oh my gosh.
Hammond and Jeremy went the whole episode without incident, barely damaged their cars at all, and that poor Evo just got destroyed. Crashed into a wall, and then it went underwater, and like, oh my God.
I know they were already kind of planning on this being one of the last ones, I think, one of the last specials, but I'd be amazed if James May came back for another one.
Yeah.
I mean, that's also what I kind of appreciated is this seemed like one of the least cheesy Grand Tours.
That
It
was-
seemed the most like almost borderline like jackassy or like kind of like you
was
and me
cool.
doing like our filming.
So apart from the James crash, it was one of my favorite episodes.
Yeah.
That there's been in a while, because a lot of the past few specials have been very scripted, very cheesy, very
yeah.
unrealistic, and there were a couple moments in this one that were like cheesy.
Did you think Richard going down the ski hill was fake?
Oh yeah, he wasn't in that. Did you
Yeah.
see how hard his cabin hit the wall at the end? There's no
Yeah.
way he was in that. He would have gone flying off
Exactly.
and gotten really hurt.
Yep.
That was the cheesiest part of the whole episode. And when Jeremy's lit on fire and stuff, that whole part was a little cheesy. But honestly, like 90% of the episode was pretty like realistic and cool, and it was really about the cars this time.
Yeah.
Some of the past specials, like they did one. What was the one where they had like the Bentley, the Focus RS, and
they were
and
in
the
like
Caterham?
Madagascar.
Yeah, that one
or
was
something.
That
and they
one
were
was
like had
very
that-
cheesy.
Yeah.
And then what
was.
was another one? Even the one with the American cars was a little cheesy.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, I enjoyed the French one thoroughly.
The French
The
one was
recent
okay.
one.
Yeah, it was good. But this most recent one was like
really good.
it made me feel like I was watching old Top Gear again. It was
Even the
pretty
very beginning scene when they're in the soccer pitch, like there was like a line that I think it was the one about like
Richard kicked the ball and it hit Jeremy.
Well, there was that, and then Richard made some joke about like things like collapsing as they get old or something like that, or deteriorating or whatever, and it seemed unscripted. Like it seemed like it was us standing in the front of the car, and you could tell by Jeremy's reaction that he like wasn't prepared for that, and so there was a good bit of banter that seemed natural, and yeah, I enjoyed it. So highly recommend you go check out A Scandi Flick.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, I might cancel my Amazon Prime at this point until the next one comes out because I just don't.
Well, I mean,
really
I use Amazon Prime to buy things. My parents do.
Sure.
So
right. Yeah. But I also use Amazon.
I don't think they're stopping. I don't think they've said anything about stopping.
They're just getting so old.
I can see them doing a few more, like once a year sort of thing, and then Jeremy's got his farming show,
which I love that
which
show
I
too.
love. Clarkson's Farm is such a. If you haven't seen Clarkson's Farm, watch
Mm-hmm.
it. I've watched the whole thing through twice.
Mm-hmm.
I like it so much.
Yep.
And Richard and James do their own solo shows as well now. So
yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you all so much for tuning into our show as we talk about other shows. And we will be back next week to recap our thoughts on the Volvo V60, the Traverse High Country, and preview which cars we have coming next. We didn't really talk about our Facebook Marketplace experiment, so we'll talk about that more next week and watch the video. And we will see you on the next one. We are Charlie and Chris with Daily Motor, and as always, drive on. Wish I could whistle. That's good.
thank you.
Very nice.